Chapter 41, Take charge of the Duwei Camp and gather the official seal of luck. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Greetings, General. All the 5,000 warriors on the training ground bowed. No thanks. Chen Tao stepped forward and said loudly. Thank you, General. The 5,000 warriors said in unison. I am here today. Nothing else. I am here to announce the appointment of General Li. Captain Wang Yan has been transferred to another camp due to military transfers. From today on, the former Captain Wang Yan will be in charge of the Captain Zhao Feng. Chen Tao announced loudly, hearing the voice. Xuanhuan and 3 other marquises who were familiar with Zhao Feng were all excited. Great! It is really Captain Zhao who is in charge of us. With Captain Zhao in charge, our captain camp will be more powerful. Xuanhuan and several other marquises thought excitedly, and another marquis besides Xuanhuan, Zhao Feng glanced around and his eyes immediately focused, Brother Wei. And those old brothers from the logistics army. Why are you all in the main camp? But when Zhao Feng looked around, he found many familiar faces behind Wei Quan, all of whom were old brothers from the logistics army, brothers in life and death. He seemed to feel Zhao Feng's gaze. Wei Quan smiled. Haven't you met Captain Zhao yet? Chen Tao shouted loudly. Greetings, Captain Zhao. 5,000 elite soldiers bowed in unison, and their voices were even louder than when they greeted Chen Tao just now, which shows how great Zhao Feng's reputation is in this captain's camp. Captain Zhao, the next thing is up to you. You have been in this military camp for many days, and I believe you understand it. Chen Tao turned his head and said to Zhao Feng. I understand. Zhao Feng nodded. I'm leaving. Chen Tao turned and left. Zhao Feng stood in front of the 5,000 elite soldiers. Brothers, please don't be polite. Zhao Feng smiled slightly and said loudly. Thank you, Captain Zhao. All the elite soldiers said in unison. From now on, I will be in charge of the 1st Captain Battalion. I, Zhao Feng, have nothing extra to say. Anyway, I, Zhao Feng, will not abandon any of my brothers on the battlefield. Disperse! Zhao Feng shouted. Wind, wind, wind. 5,000 elite soldiers responded with the sound of wind. Then the elite soldiers dispersed. Xuanhuan and other military marquises, as well as the old brothers of the logistics army, immediately surrounded Zhao Feng. Zhao boy. I'm here, and I've been promoted. Are you happy? Wei Quan came and said to Zhao Feng with a smile on his face. Captain, I'm here too. We are all here. 600 old brothers, except for a dozen seriously injured and retired, the rest are here, all under the command of the captain. The old brothers of the logistics army around him also laughed. They hadn't seen each other for many days, and now they saw Zhao Feng again, and they all seemed very excited. Looking at these old brothers, Zhao Feng also had a smile on his face, but he was more puzzled. Brother Wei, why are you all here? Don't you know what the main battle camp is? This is not the logistics army. Zhao Feng said with a serious expression. Hey! We have experienced life and death, so what are we afraid of? We are all brothers in life and death. Everyone knows that you have been transferred to the main battle camp. We will report together and continue to follow you. Anyway, we have died once, and the worst thing is to die again. There was no chance in the logistics army before, but now we have entered the main battle camp. I feel that following you will definitely win military merits and be promoted. Wei Quan laughed carelessly. For this purpose, he naturally did not hide anything. That's right. We brothers in the logistics army must follow the captain, stand out, and be promoted. Many old brothers in the logistics army also said with a firm look. Hearing this, Zhao Feng glanced around and saw that all the old brothers had firm eyes and looked like they were following him. Zhao Feng smiled and said loudly, okay. Since all the brothers are here, I won't say much. The logistics army handles miscellaneous matters, and the main battle camp goes to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Their duties are different. Since we are all elite soldiers of the main battle camp, we should expand the territory for the country and win a promotion for ourselves. Everything will be decided on the battlefield. I, Zhao Feng, will also do my best to win military merits and promotions like all the brothers. Zhao Feng laughed and said, his mind of climbing up was no longer concealed. At this moment, Zhao Feng's statement also showed the difference from when he was in the logistics army. He had never thought of a fight before, but at this moment he was particularly determined and full of vigor, for the future, to win a high position and a foundation for the hegemony of the late Qin dynasty, for my mother, for Wang Yan, and for myself. Give it a try. Wei Quan saw Zhao Feng's determination at a glance. This was not a joke, but a serious one. He thought to himself, Zhao Kid has really changed his mind. He really wants to fight and kill the enemy, who can stop him? However, this kid was very resistant before. How come he suddenly changed? Did he encounter something? Zhao Feng has known Wei Quan since the recruit training, and Wei Quan knows Zhao Feng very well. It's been less than 10 days since they last met, and Zhao Feng's attitude towards the army has changed so much. Wei Quan doesn't believe there is no reason. In charge of 5,000 troops, with the luck of the dynasty, do you want to condense the luck official seal? It was at this time, a prompt suddenly appeared on the panel. Official seal of luck. Zhao Feng was stunned for a moment, a little surprised, but he soon came to his senses. Xuanhuan. Zhao Feng shouted. My subordinate is here. Xuanhuan said immediately. This is Wei Quan, my big brother who used to be in the logistics army. Get to know him well and explain more about military affairs. Also, you all should go prepare yourself and pack your basic luggage. The troops will be launched soon. Zhao Feng said to the few military princes around him, I heard that troops were about to be launched. Xuanhuan and several military princes all had eager expressions on their faces. It has been nearly 4 months since we launched troops against South Korea. They were almost in the back line and had no chance to take the initiative to kill the enemy. They only passively fought when Yangqing was attacked and suffered considerable losses. Seeing the warriors from other battalions killing the enemy and gaining merit, how could they not be greedy? Since they are elite soldiers in the main battle camp, they naturally want to kill the enemy and perform meritorious service, and gain promotion to the rank. This kind of mentality is common to all military elites. Promise. That everyone immediately responded and retreated. Zhao Feng found a place to sit down. Looking at the prompts on the panel, it is natural to understand that this luck official seal must be of great use. The official seal of luck is linked to luck, so it must be of great benefit. Zhao Feng thought about it, and then immediately ordered, gather the official seal of luck. The luck of the dynasty, the official seal of Ning Duwei's luck. The official seal of luck has been achieved. A prompt appeared on the panel. Subsequently, there was an official seal with a golden halo floating in front of Zhao Feng. It was just an illusion, not a real thing. On this official seal, there is also the word Captain. P.S. Please recommend votes, please monthly votes, please pursue reading, please pursue reading, please pursue reading. Chapter 42 The Magical Effect of the Luck Official Seal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You have obtained the Captain's official seal. Do you want to wear it? As the luck official seal appeared, the prompt appeared again. Wear it. Zhao Feng ordered immediately. Subsequently, the official seal of luck in front of him turned into a ray of light and rushed toward Zhao Feng, disappearing in a flash. Successfully wear the official seal and gain the passive attributes of the official seal. Captain's official seal. Commanding 5,000 troops under his command, the host can lead the charge to stimulate the morale of the soldiers under his command by 10%, and increase the combat effectiveness of the soldiers under his command by 10%. The host can lead the soldiers under his command to carry the corpse and bury it, and gain 100% of the attributes of the total buried soldiers. 1. Zhao Feng was shocked when he saw this prompt on the panel. The attributes of this official seal are too heaven-defying. It's so unbelievable that you can still do this. Thousands of soldiers under my command go to carry the corpse and bury it together. Even if it is only 1/10 of the attributes, it is much better than me picking it up alone. Furthermore, this official seal also increases combat power and morale. Although it is only 10%, it can definitely play a key role. The captain's official seal is awesome. Looking at the properties of this official seal, Zhao Feng showed a smile on his face. At first, I didn't know the reason for this luck official seal, but now I completely understand that it is definitely of great use to me. Open the properties panel. Zhao Feng said, age, 16 years old, power, 999, the stronger the power, the corresponding power can be exploded. Speed, 656, the higher the number, the faster. Physique, 658, the stronger the physique, the faster recovery from injuries and endless physical strength. Spirit, 655, the stronger the spirit, the clearer the mind, the clearer the thoughts, the spiritual power can be released, and when it grows to a certain level, it can sense the aura of heaven and earth. Lifespan, 86 years plus 305 days, portable space, 6 cubic meters, cultivation method, dragon elephant technique, martial skills, dragon subduing palm, explosive fist. Mastered at the elementary level, one punch can explode twice as much as one's own strength. All attributes exceed 700 points, soon. Zhao Feng looked expectant. Handu, Xinjiang. In the main hall, extraordinarily heavy, the king of Han was sitting on the throne. In front of him stood the Prime Minister of South Korea, Zhang Ping, and the minister in charge of military affairs. The prince, Han Fei, was famous in Korea and had a high reputation. Your Majesty. Everything that needs to be sent out has been sent out. They were scattered among various countries, and most of them were scattered in Qin State. Zhang Ping started with a serious look. The general has died in the battle. His last plan failed after all. Han Wangan sighed, full of helplessness. Strategically speaking, the general almost succeeded. What a pity. As long as the Qin army's food road can be cut off, Korea will have more time to support the arrival of reinforcements, but now we can only stick to one strategy. Zhang Ping also sighed. Wang Jian is worthy of being said to be the most capable general in commanding troops in the Qin kingdom. It is not unjust that General Bao Yuan was defeated at his hands. Han Fei also said slowly. Young master is wrong. This general's defeat was not caused by Wang Jian at all. Perhaps it was an accident, or a result that the general did not expect at all. Zhang Ping said slowly. Is there any reason why it doesn't work? Han Fei said in surprise. The general was defeated at the hands of Qin's logistics army. Zhang Ping smiled bitterly, took out a secret report from his arms, and handed it to Han Fei. Han Fei took it and opened it, his face became extremely heavy. Is Qin really so scary? Thousands of defeated logistics troops actually held back the elite commanded by the general, and then the general was surrounded and annihilated by the Qin army? Han Fei looked very unhappy. If Bao Yuan had been defeated by Wang Jian, he wouldn't have been so shocked, but Bao Yuan had been defeated by a logistics army, which really made Han Fei a little unbelievable. Has Qin's national power reached this point? Can a defeated logistics army still be able to compete with our Korean elite? How do their troops train? Han Fei said solemnly. Shang Yang's reforms and Qin's military system. This is the key. Zhang Ping said slowly, to this, why is Qin strong? It was because of Shang Yang's reforms and the implementation of the military merit system. This matter is naturally known to everyone in the world, but what if everyone knows it? What kind of resistance did Shang Yang's reform encounter in the past? They were facing the old nobles of the entire Qin state. How many people died because of the implementation of reforms? Countless, but in the end, Qin became stronger due to reforms, but for all the countries in the world, even if they know it, there is nothing they can do, because their nobles will never let the reform happen, which is harming the interests of the nobles. If Lord Shen's reform had been completely successful, maybe we, Korea, would be able to fight Qin. Zhang Ping said with some annoyance. King Han also nodded, yes. After all, Shen Jun is born at the wrong time. If he is under the control of others, he will give his full support. Hear this. Han Fei sighed in his heart. Shen Buheo's reform is different from Qin's. Although his reform can strengthen the country temporarily, it is not a long-term solution. Only Qin's reform can truly strengthen national power and break the monopoly of the powerful allows ordinary soldiers to become powerful. This is enough for the Qin soldiers to not be afraid of death and gain fame with the sword in their hands. As a great legalist, Han Fei naturally had a very thorough understanding of the reform. After he returned from his studies, Han Fei also proposed reforms, but the resistance was too great. Hearing the king of Han's afterthought, Han Fei could only remain silent. Your Majesty. There is no other way now. The only way is to mobilize all the heavy troops to defend the capital and wait for Zhao and Wei to send reinforcements. I have received the news. The king of Zhao and the king of Wei are willing to mobilize troops. Now they are collecting food and supplies. As long as we hold the capital, we can retreat Qin as soon as the reinforcements from Zhao and Wei arrive. Zhang Ping looked at the king of Han and said loudly. Han Qing. How many troops do we have now? The king of Han looked at Han Fei and asked. Mobilize all the troops to defend Xinjiang. Together with the imperial guards, there are still 70,000 troops. If the slaves in the city and all the slaves of the nobles are mobilized, there will be more than 80,000 troops in total, but the mobilization of slaves still requires the king to issue an edict. Han Fei replied. Now that our great Han is facing a crisis, the matter of mobilizing slaves to defend the city will be handed over to Han Qing. If anyone dares not to hand them over, they will be directly punished by military law. Zhang Aiqing, you are the head of all officials and should set an example. The king of Han looked at Zhang Ping and said. Please rest assured, my king, I swear to live and die with the great Han. All the 2,000 slaves in my mansion can be used to defend the city. Zhang Ping said immediately. Okay. With the Prime Minister as an example, I believe that all officials will also coexist with the country. The king of Han also said with a forced smile. Han Fei on the side was silent, but the sadness on his face was very obvious. I hope that my great Han can still hold on until the reinforcements from Zhao and Wei come. Or, there will be no reinforcements at all. Han Fei felt bitter in his heart. From his perspective, there might not be any reinforcements at all. Even if they come, Qin will definitely have a way to deal with it, and the demise of Han is inevitable. P.S. Please recommend votes, monthly votes, follow-up reading, and follow-up reading. Chapter 43. All attributes exceeded 700. Get another treasure chest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Less than 50 miles from Xinjiang, the capital of Han. A small town under the control of Han. The few thousand Han soldiers in the city were shooting arrows to stop the Qin army, but as the Qin army's elite soldiers had already killed their way to the city, with the battering ram, boom. The city gate was directly rushed open. Chen Tao drew his sword and shouted, pointing directly at the small town, all troops, listen to my order, kill. Soon, the thousands of elite soldiers under his command rushed towards this city. Such a small town did not have much resistance to the Qin army. As the Qin army rushed into the city, the battle situation in this small town had already settled. The Han army in the city retreated in panic, and the Qin army chased them all the way. Zhao Feng was naturally among them. Kill! Zhao Feng shouted, holding the Longquan sword. The divine weapon blessing and its own attributes made it unstoppable, let alone the defeated army. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of strength. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of speed. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of life. Kill the Han soldiers. As Zhao Feng rushed into the city, he killed people everywhere, and at the same time, he picked up attributes crazily in the process of killing enemies. Follow the captain, kill. The military marquises and sharp soldiers behind Zhao Feng roared, following Zhao Feng to kill the enemy, and each of them seemed very excited, but in just over an hour. The Qin flag has been planted on this small city and it has been annexed by the Qin State. The corpses of the Han army were scattered throughout the city, and there were few survivors. General Chen. This Han city has been completely taken. Zhao Feng walked in front of Chen Tao and reported with a fist. Captain Zhao, I have finally seen your bravery. Once the city gate was broken, you led your elite soldiers to charge forward, and almost all the Han soldiers were killed by your captain camp. Another captain from the Wanjiang camp smiled with some jealousy. Captain Lu, you are too kind. My elite soldiers have been guarding the rear for a long time and are going crazy. It is a rare opportunity for them to have this battle, so they will naturally do their best to kill the enemy. Zhao Feng replied with a smile. Okay. Speed is the essence of war. From the map, this city is only 100 miles away from the Han capital. We must speed up the march before we can join forces with General Li. This city still needs to be guarded, waiting for the logistics army. Who of you is willing to stay and clean up the city? Chen Tao looked at Zhao Feng and Captain Lu and said. I am willing to lead the army to clean up the city and wait for the logistics army. Zhao Feng naturally asked for the order immediately. Just kidding, there are thousands of Han soldiers' bodies waiting to be cleaned up in the city, which are a large number of attribute points. Zhao Feng will take advantage of this wave to increase all attributes to more than 700 points and strengthen his strength. Good, Chen Tao nodded with satisfaction. Lu Duwei will lead the army to continue the march with me, Zhao Duwei will stay here temporarily, and will advance immediately after the logistics army arrives. I will obey your orders. Zhao Feng and Lu Duwei responded at the same time. Then, Wang Jianying divided the army, and Chen Tao led another Duwei camp across the city and continued to march. After they left, Zhao Feng immediately summoned 5 military marquises under his command. Please give your orders, Duwei. The 5 military marquises bowed to Zhao Feng. This city has been settled, but we still need to wait for the logistics army to come and guard it. Xuanhuan. You take your sharp soldiers to clean up the battlefield and treat your brothers. As long as they are still alive, send them to the wounded camp for treatment immediately, and by the way, give each Han army a knife to prevent them from being injured alive. Zhao Feng said. Yes. Xuanhuan immediately accepted the order. Li Dao. You lead your elite soldiers to dig a burial pit outside the city. Wei Quan. You lead your elite soldiers to transport the bodies of the Han army out of the city and bury them as soon as possible. Zhao Feng arranged all the 5 military marquises in place. Although it was his first time to command the army, Zhao Feng was not panicked at all and was in an orderly manner. That, Captain. Isn't burying the bodies the job of the logistics army? Wei Quan said in confusion. The logistics army handles logistics matters, that's true. But the logistics army has been attacked and killed because the enemy pretended to be dead. I can't control this matter in other camps, but it must never happen again under my command. From now on, my captain's camp will continue to march after burying the bodies after conquering each place. Zhao Feng said in a deep voice. I understand. Wei Quan understood it instantly, thinking of the fact that Baoqiu pretended to be dead and almost took his life. Wei Quan was really scared, and this situation is also common in the logistics army. The logistics troops were not as tense as the main battle warriors, and it would be dangerous if they were slack, of course. This was one reason, but the fundamental reason was that Zhao Feng wanted to use the power of the luck seal to improve his strength. As the 5 military marquises dispersed, they began to gradually clean up the bodies in the city. The number of Han troops in this small city was not large, with more than 3,000 soldiers, half of whom were slaves, so it was naturally very fast to clean up. 1/10 of the attribute bonus. I hope that all attributes can exceed 700 this time. Zhao Feng thought with expectation. It was approaching dusk. Report to the commander. All the bodies in the city have been buried. Xuanhuan reported respectfully, as Xuanhuan's voice fell. Calculate the attribute points picked up by the troops. Pick up 56 points of strength. Pick up 48 points of speed. Pick up 53 points of physique. Pick up 59 points of spirit. Pick up 60 days of life. Congratulations to the host for breaking through 700 points in all attributes, and reward a first-level treasure chest. A prompt appeared on the panel. The next moment, Zhao Feng could feel that his whole body had once again ushered in a qualitative change in sublimation, and his strength was enhanced again. Attribute panel. Age, 16 years old. Strength, 1056, the stronger the strength, the corresponding strength can be burst out. Speed, 712, the higher the number, the faster the speed. Constitution, 716, the stronger the constitution, the faster the recovery from injury, and the endless physical strength. Spirit, 702, the stronger the spirit, the clearer the mind, the clearer the thoughts, the mental power can be released, and when it grows to a certain extent, it can sense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Lifespan, 86 years plus 360 days, portable space, 7 cubic meters, cultivation method, dragon elephant secret, martial arts, dragon subduing palm, explosive fist. Master the elementary level, a punch can burst out twice the strength of your own strength. All attributes have exceeded 700. I still can't feel the comfort of a single attribute enhancement, but every time the attributes are broken through, it's like sublimation. This power, this strength. Who in the world can resist my punch? Xiang Yu, isn't he born yet? Maybe he can lift a tripod, but when he is born and grows up, I will become a real practitioner. Feeling the terrifying power all over his body, Zhao Feng was full of confidence. Is the logistics army here? Zhao Feng came back to his senses and asked Xuanhuan. They are here. Xuanhuan nodded. Pass my order. Let the logistics army cook, and my Duwei Camp's elite soldiers rest for a night, and set off tomorrow. Zhao Feng said immediately, P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please read, please read. Chapter 44 Ambition Grows. For the future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wait for Xuanhuan to retreat. Zhao Feng can't wait to open the treasure chest with all attributes over 700 rewards. Open the first level treasure chest. Get 500 taels of gold. A prompt appeared on the panel. Total, I have 5,000 taels of gold in my storage space, and I can't use it on the battlefield. Zhao Feng was not so happy to see more gold. For him at present, this gold is just for show. Even if he wanted to send some to his mother, he couldn't do it. In this era, there is no such convenient transportation, let alone complete mailing, wartime. Even soldiers in the army are difficult to send letters home. For example, sending a letter from Korea to home normally takes 10 days, but it takes at least 1 or 2 months to deliver it from here, and sending gold. If the military soldiers under the command of the Central Army Sima found out, it would definitely be a crime. We still have to use this gold. If we don't use it, we'll be useless. If I can use this gold to train my own people, I can not only use it to protect my mother and others, but also become a future helper. The end of the Qin dynasty was a time of great contention. Looking at the gold in the storage space and thinking about the future history, Zhao Feng also had an ambition in his heart. Even Liu Bang, a rascal and a scoundrel, could become a king. His current status is much higher than Liu Bang. Now that he has entered the battle camp, Zhao Feng is confident that he can continue to make meritorious contributions and be promoted with his own strength. When the Qin dynasty really unifies the world, Zhao Feng can't imagine what position he can achieve. Anyway, Zhao Feng is confident that he will be the most powerful official. At the end of the Qin dynasty, he will have the power of the army, train some of his own confidants, and teach some basic cultivation methods. It is not a dream to sweep the world. Even if there is a so-called will of heaven, is Zhao Feng's ability not enough to rule a region? In history, there was a Qin general named Zhao Tuo. He was sent by Qin Shihuang to guard the land of Baiyue, commanded hundreds of thousands of Qin troops, and eventually established the Nanyue kingdom. He even survived until the Han dynasty. He survived from Qin Shihuang to several emperors in the Han dynasty. Survive? Who can survive Zhao Feng by picking up his life? Are kings, princes, generals, and ministers of different species? This sentence is really an inspiration. I thought wrong before. Since I have come to this world, there is no way to go back. Since I have come to this world, I should integrate into this world. When the troubled times come, if I really have no power, how can I protect my mother and sister? How to marry Wang Yan? The unification of Qin and the chaos at the end of Qin are inevitable. Then I will fight for myself in the future and win a king's hegemony. At this moment, Zhao Feng's mind has completely changed. Now thinking about his previous desire to return home in 2 years, thinking that he could avoid the future chaos, he feels a little ridiculous. Time flies. More than half a month has passed. Handong, Xinjiang is only 5 miles away. More than 90,000 Qin troops have set up camp and gathered together. As the Qin troops joined together, it also announced that many Korean cities before Xinjiang have been conquered by Qin. Now, the troops are already at the gates. Main camp. Li Ting sat in the main general position, and there were more than a dozen generals sitting on his left and right, some from the main battle camp and some from the logistics camp. Handong is right in front of us. What do you want to say? Li Ting glanced at it and said in a deep voice. I am willing to be the vanguard and break through Handong. All the 10 main battle camps stood up, saluted with their fists, and asked loudly. See this? Li Ting also smiled, then picked up a bamboo slip from the table, held it high and said, on that day in Yangqing, the general gave an order, ordering me to break through the capital of Han and capture the king of Han within 2 months. Now it takes less than half a month for all the generals to conquer all the cities around the capital of Han. This shows the morale of all the generals and the sharp edge of our Qin's sharp soldiers. There is still 1.5 months to the deadline set by the general, which is plenty of time. But this is the deadline set by the general, not the deadline for our army. Half a month. Li Ting raised his head and glanced at the generals. Can we break through the capital of Han within half a month? The generals looked at each other, without fear, and replied in unison, I will do my best. Li Ting nodded, and looked at the generals in logistics. General Song, is the logistics food and grass sufficient? Please rest assured, General Li, the food and grass are being transported closely, the food route is intact, and it will never delay the use of the army. General Song of Logistics replied. The military equipment and supplies are intact, right? Li Ting asked again. Report to the general. The military equipment and supplies are intact, there are enough bows and arrows, and all kinds of siege equipment have been transferred. Another logistics general replied, it is enough to understand from this point of view, once the troops are mobilized, it is not just the main battle camp's elite soldiers, but the logistics and the rear need to go all out, and a single move will trigger the whole country. Okay. Tomorrow, we will first use 300,000 arrows and 5,000 torches to weaken the morale of the Han army, and then attack with infantry. As for the vanguard of the siege, it will be General Wu Hua. Li Ting announced loudly, responded, a general immediately stood up and bowed excitedly, I will definitely break the Han capital. Okay. Go down and make arrangements. Tomorrow is the beginning. If we can complete the general's order beyond the deadline, all the generals will be credited. Li Ting laughed and waved his hand. Promise. All the generals stood up one after another, bowed, and then retreated. As the generals left, Li Ting stood up slowly and stared at Xinjiang, the capital of Han, on the map in front of him, with determination in his eyes. The battle in Yangqing almost made a big mistake. Now I am still guilty of the crime. Only by conquering Han capital can I make meritorious deeds. Even if you can go one step further and get promoted to a higher rank. If I miss this opportunity, I will never have the opportunity to lead troops and make meritorious deeds in the future. After Qin Wangjing took full power and took charge, he appointed many capable ministers and generals. Wang family, Meng family, these two are the top generals of the Qin State. It can be said that the two families are in a powerful relationship. This opportunity to destroy Han is not available to everyone, but Wang Jian finally fought for it for Li Ting. If he is really dismissed, not only will Li Ting be punished, but Wang Jian will also be criticized. Military camp. This is the location of the captain's camp under the command of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng and his subordinates sat in front of a bonfire. It's only autumn now. I didn't expect it to be so cold at night. If winter comes in a few months, it will really freeze to death. Xuanhuan raised his hand to warm himself by the fire and said with emotion. Zhao Feng complained in his heart, there is no global warming in this era. It is indeed very cold. P.S. Please vote for recommendations, please vote for me, please read more, please read more. Chapter 45, Vanguard's Advantage. The troops approached the capital of Handong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Captain. Now that we are less than 10 miles away from the capital of Han, are there any orders from above? Xuanhuan looked at Zhao Feng again and asked expectantly. Do you want to be a pioneer? Zhao Feng could tell Xuanhuan's thoughts at a glance. Hey. This is a great opportunity to make a lot of money. Whoever takes the lead in breaking the city must be the first to do so. How can my subordinates not think about it? Xuanhuan replied with a smile. Being the first to break the city will have to withstand the enemy's fiercest defense. This is a narrow escape. Aren't you afraid? Zhao Feng asked curiously. The captain just came from the logistics army and maybe he doesn't know the situation in the Vanguard army, right? Xuanhuan asked with a smile. What's going on? Zhao Feng was stunned for a moment, he really didn't know, tell me about it. If you are a Vanguard, you will receive double the pension if you die in battle. If you are alive, your merits for killing the enemy will be doubled. If there is an heir, the heir will be exempted from military service, and the court will continue to care for the heir until he is 14 years old. Xuanhuan said with a serious face, hear this. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised, but then he came to his senses. No wonder everyone in the main battle camp wants to be the Vanguard. Once the Vanguard succeeds, the battle merit will be doubled. That's right. This rule was set by the king himself. Before the king made this rule, not many people in the Vanguard army dared to go. Xuanhuan said with a look of awe. Perhaps this means that there must be a brave man under a heavy reward. Qin Shihuang really saw through human nature. Zhao Feng thought in his heart, the reward measures for the Vanguard army can be said to be aimed at all aspects of the elite. One is to encourage them with twice the military merit, the other is to provide double the pension, and the third is to provide financial support to the family members. This also completely eliminates Ruishi's worries. How can Ruishi not fight for it? According to what Zhang Junho said, this Vanguard army is afraid that the entire army will rob it. I'm afraid it's hard for our captain camp to have a chance. Wei Quan said from the side. Yes. I wonder if our captain camp has a chance to be a pioneer. Xuanhuan also nodded. It's useless to talk about it now. Everything depends on how the higher-ups arrange it. If it is really our captain's turn, then I will lead you to win this military honor. Zhao Feng said with a smile, which seemed to be casual, but in fact he was full of confidence. After listening to what Xuanhuan said about the benefits of being a vanguard to break the city, Zhao Feng was naturally moved. Now Zhao Feng has entered the main battle camp and has become the commander-in-chief of the army. Once you're in, you'll be safe. Zhao Feng's mentality has also changed. Gaining military exploits, being promoted to a higher position, preparing for the end of Qin dynasty, and preparing for the future hegemony of the king's map all require higher power, and his own mother, the royal palace's most precious blood ginseng, and Wang Yan, all this requires power. Zhao Feng should try his best to win. Something must have happened to Mr. Zhao. Wei Quan on the side listened to Zhao Feng's words and felt even more sure. He knew Zhao Feng too well, at this time. A messenger from Qintao's command came here. Is Captain Zhao here? The ordering soldier shouted loudly. Zhao Feng stood up immediately, yes. According to the order of General Chen, tomorrow, all the archers from our general camp will be mobilized to attack Handu with arrows. General Chen ordered Captain Zhao to make arrangements. The ordering soldier immediately gave the order. Please tell General Chen, the general knows. Zhao Feng immediately replied with clasped fists. The messenger returned the greeting with cupped fists, then quickly turned around and left. It seems that our general in the Vanguard army did not seize the opportunity, so you can rest assured. Zhao Feng sat back again and said with a smile. I don't know which general camp got the opportunity. Xuanhuan said with a bit of curiosity. You don't care which battalion he is from. When the city is broken, I can lead you all into the city and still gain military merit. I heard about it. There are quite a few Korean troops in the city. Zhao Feng said with a smile. That's right. Xuanhuan also smiled. All right. There's going to be a big battle tomorrow. Let's all go back to camp and rest. I'm back too. Zhao Feng waved his hand, walked towards his camp, and lay directly on the prepared couch. After returning to camp, Zhao Feng closed his eyes slightly. Spiritual power unfolds. I still haven't sensed the existence of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Is this world without the spiritual energy of heaven and earth? Or is my mental power still too weak? Oh, never mind. It's better to practice the dragon elephant technique. I have only practiced for less than 10 days now, and I can increase all my attributes every day. This is without the assistance of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If I sense the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in the future, I will definitely increase my attributes a lot every day. Think of this. Zhao Feng activated the dragon elephant technique and began tonight's practice. The next day. Woo! Woo-hoo! Woo-hoo! The loud sound of the horn resounded outside Xinjiang, the capital of Han Dynasty. The Qin army is about to attack. Hurry up to the city. As the horns of the Qin army sounded, the entire Korean army in Xinjiang city was in panic. When the trumpet sounded, the Qin army had not yet attacked, but the morale of the Korean army had been lost. At this moment, for Handu, it was already an attack on the city. Most people in the city knew that they could not hold on. What's the mess? Why are you panicking? General Chao, are these the soldiers you led? Looking at the messy Han soldiers in the city, without reorganization, panic-stricken, Zhang Ping walked slowly, frowning. Prime Minister. I am incompetent. The General Chao Yi, who led the troops, walked quickly, his face filled with panic. Han was originally weak, and Bao Yuan was the last general in Han who had the ability to command troops. It is easy to get thousands of troops, but it is difficult to get a general. It has been like this since ancient times, and Han has no capable generals. Without capable generals, the command of troops is weak. You. Looking at Chao Yi in front of him, Zhang Ping's eyes were full of disappointment, but he had no way. Chao Yi in front of him was already the most capable general in Xinjiang city. Where are the guards? Zhang Ping shouted loudly. Yes. In the city, tens of thousands of guards shouted in unison. 5,000 guards will be transferred to the supervising army. Anyone who dares to leave the defensive position and escape from the battlefield will be killed. Anyone who dares to disrupt the military system will be killed. Today, the enemy is attacking. I will personally guard the city gate to stop the strong enemy. Zhang Ping shouted loudly. I will obey the order of the Prime Minister. Many guards replied in unison, then they drew their weapons and looked around. Under the pressure of life and death, the Han army and slaves guarding the city became cautious, which also solved the originally chaotic situation. Tell all the soldiers. Don't think that my great Han has lost. I have received news that the million reinforcements from Zhao and Wei are now on the way. As long as my capital holds on for a month, we will be able to wait for the reinforcements to annihilate the Qin thieves. Zhang Ping looked around again and shouted loudly. Hearing this, the Han army, which was originally desperate, also regained some morale. P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please read, please read. Chapter 46. Behind the Qin envoys are millions of elite soldiers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Facing the Qin army approaching the city, let alone the Han army facing the Qin army, even the people in the city were full of despair. Qin, the tiger and wolf, is famous all over the world. Massacres of cities were not unheard of in this era, and this was what the people were most worried about. After all, they were in the capital of Han and were not from Qin, so how could they know how the Qin army would treat them? Hearing that Zhao and Wei had sent troops to help, the Korean army, which originally felt isolated and helpless, regained their morale. This naturally gave them hope. Zhang Ping walked up to the tower slowly, looking at the Qin army gradually gathering in the distance to form a military formation. I couldn't help but frown. The Qin army is worthy of being a world-famous elite tiger and wolf army. Compared with theirs, our Korean army has less morale, less vigor, and less vigor. Without city defense, we, the Han, would not be able to compete with them. Looking at the Qin army's military momentum before it attacked, Zhang Ping's heart became even heavier. Just then, I saw the Qin army in front of the formation. The chariot broke away from the military formation and galloped towards Han capital city. It was less than a few dozen feet away from Handong city. The chariot stopped. Who is in charge of the city? On top of the chariot, Li Teng was dressed in battle armor and had a sword on his waist. He stared at Han capital city and shouted. Zhang Ping stood up slowly, with a calm look on his face. The real Zhang Ping is here. It turns out to be Prime Minister Han. Well known, Li Teng smiled and then said, I, Li Teng, follow the edict of King Qin to raise the king's army and destroy the subordinates. Prime Minister Han, when it has reached such a point, do you, South Korea, still have to resist stubbornly? As long as South Korea surrenders, everything in the city can still be preserved. I can promise to protect your Han ancestral temple, protect the people in the city from being massacred, and protect the officials who care for South Korea. Zhang Ping sneered, haha. Master Wang. What is Master Wang? You, the Qin State, have raised unethical soldiers and invaded our land for no reason. These are unjust soldiers and the whole world should punish them together. Zhang Ping shouted coldly. My great Qin is raising unethical soldiers. Li Teng also sneered. A year ago, the king of Han expelled the foreign minister of the great Qin dynasty stationed in Xinjiang. I, the great Qin court lieutenant Li Si, came to Xinjiang in person, but the king of Han did not see me and was kicked out of the palace. Does Prime Minister Han not know that envoys represent the face of a country? Expel my great Qin ministers and attack my great Qin court lieutenants. This is a slap in the face of my great Qin, a slap in the face of millions of warriors in my great Qin. Today we, the Qin dynasty, are raising troops here because you, South Korea, are asking for it. Ben will tell you. Behind the envoy of great Qin are my million sharp soldiers. Li Teng shouted loudly, since ancient times, there must be a legitimate reason for raising troops, otherwise it will be unreasonable, which will have a great impact on the morale of the army and all the countries in the world. The reason why he took the lead in attacking Han, Qin Wangjing naturally had a lot of thoughtful thoughts. A few years ago, Qin fought with the state of Zhao, and achieved good results in the early stage, capturing many cities of the state of Zhao. However, King Zhao later mobilized Li Mu, who was stationed in Daidi, to return reinforcements, and the Qin army was ultimately defeated. It was from then on that King Han, who had almost surrendered to Qin, changed his mind and attached himself to Zhao. First, he expelled the Qin envoys, and then treated the Qin envoys badly. Li Si, who had already held the important position of court captain. Qin mobilized troops to attack Han. One is revenge, and the other is to let the world see the consequences of being an enemy of the Qin. I, Zhang Ping, would rather die than surrender. If you have any ability, just show it. Zhang Ping no longer had any verbal disputes with Li Teng. When the king of Han expelled the Qin envoys, Zhang Ping naturally agreed. Naturally, he had his reasons for this. Since Prime Minister Han is seeking his own death, I will no longer advise you, General. Li Teng stared at Zhang Ping and said nothing more. A wave of hands, the sharp man driving the chariot immediately turned his horse's head and returned to Qin's army, after returning to battle. Li Teng pulled out his sword, stared at Han Du with cold eyes, pointed the sword pointedly, and shouted, Great Qin warrior. Wind, wind, wind. The roar of the wind echoed in all directions, shaking the sky. The warriors of Qin are historically known as the strongest army of this era. The military power was shocked. Bow and arrow, torch stone. Li Teng shouted again. The order fell. Dozens of messengers standing behind him quickly rushed toward the military formation and dispersed. They are all responsible for conveying the general's orders. The general has an order. Archers prepare. Trebuchet ready. Kill. Dozens of messengers dispersed to the military formation that had been lined up for a long time and roared loudly. When a horse came to the military formation commanded by Zhao Feng, listen to the general's order. Zhao Feng also raised his black iron bow with a serious expression. This was Zhao Feng's first real battle since he was transferred to the main battle camp. War. Zhao Feng said secretly in his heart and tightened his grip on the black iron bow. Behind him, the 5,000 warriors all carried bows and arrows and carried quivers on their backs. They did not carry long guns or spears. The vanguard of this battle was not his battalion of 10,000 generals. The task assigned to his battalion of 10,000 generals was to shoot arrows at Handong. This time, the Lord will command. Attack! Chen Tao came riding a war horse, carrying a spear, shouted loudly, and then waved his spear. Boom, boom, boom. The army marched towards Handong in an orderly manner, not only the 10,000 general camp to which Zhao Feng belonged, but also 2 other 10,000 general camps, 30,000 troops, 30,000 archers. Each quiver was filled with feather arrows. Li Ting ordered to suppress the enemy with 300,000 arrows, but the arrows carried in the quivers of 30,000 archers were far more than 10 per person. Watching the Qin army advancing towards the city, Zhang Ping immediately shouted loudly, "General Chao, the Qin army is about to attack. No matter what method you use, you must defend it. I will personally supervise the battle in the city. Anyone who dares to escape will be killed without mercy. Please rest assured, Prime Minister." Chao Yi responded loudly, then he drew his sword. "Archers, get ready. Once the Qin army enters the range, shoot immediately." Chao Yi stared at the front of the city and watched the Qin army advance. 30,000 Qin army archers, and more than 100 catapults were advancing, when it was nearly 60 feet away from Handong. "Stop!" All the 30,000 generals in the 10,000 general camp stopped marching. I saw that every sharp soldier in the 10,000 general camp began to disperse quickly, completely spreading in front of the entire city. "Shoot, shoot quickly!" Chao Yi shouted immediately. "General! This place is not within the range of my bows and arrows." A deputy general hurriedly replied. "It has been rumored in various countries that the Qin arrows have a longer range. Is it true?" Chao Yi was very uneasy, and the next moment, the 30,000 Qin archers had completely dispersed and opened up the distance. "Kill!" The 3 Qin generals shouted in unison. "Wind, wind, wind!" The wind shouted again. The 30,000 Qin sharp soldiers raised their bows and arrows at the same time. The next moment, bang bang bang! The whole sky and earth of Han capital were shocked by the trembling sound of the bows. P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please read, please read. Chapter 47 The Soul of the Qin Army. Brutal Siege Battle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Accompanied by endless arrows rained down towards Handong, and the whole void was covered by dense arrows like a storm. "Scatter!" Chao Yi shouted. The guards around him immediately raised their shields to protect Chao Yi. The next moment, countless arrows were thrown towards Handong. Puff, puff, the sound of arrows piercing through armor and flesh resounded in Handong. When the storm-like arrows fell, countless Han soldiers were killed instantly and died tragically in Handong. The screams continued. On the tower, in the city, it suddenly became a purgatory. Blood and corpses were scattered all over the city gate. "Hide! Hide quickly!" It was just a round of arrow rain. Handong city was in chaos, with Han soldiers dodging sharp arrows everywhere, but this arrow rain was only the first round. 30,000 sharp soldiers took turns to shoot arrows. After the front line shot arrows, they immediately retreated and quickly drew arrows from the quiver and shot arrows in turn. The violent rain of arrows continued to shoot, causing endless casualties to the entire Han capital. At the same time, hundreds of catapults also adjusted their angles and aimed at Han capital. Boom, boom, boom. One by one, catapults loaded with torches threw, and the flaming torch corpses were thrown towards the Han capital tower and the city. The torches fell to the ground, producing a roar like a cannonball explosion, and the flames scattered. The catapults also made the screams in the city endless, and countless Han soldiers were smashed into meat paste. The battlefield, it was so cruel, in the military formation. Zhao Feng also provided arrows and shot arrows in the air, tens of thousands of people shot arrows, which was an indiscriminate attack, covering the entire Han capital tower. Under such a dense rain of arrows, being exposed to the rain of arrows was almost a dead end. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of strength. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of life. Kill the Han soldiers and pick up 5 points of speed. Although he was shooting arrows indiscriminately, Zhao Feng also seized the opportunity. Each time he shot 5 arrows at the same time. His quiver was full of arrows, with dozens of arrows. Even if he shot arrows indiscriminately and didn't see the target, Zhao Feng's luck arrows killed the Han soldiers and successfully picked up the attributes. This level of arrow rain coverage is equivalent to the saturation firepower strike in later generations. In terms of military weapons, Qin can be respected in this era. It is true that if you want to do your job well, you must first sharpen your tools. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. When he thought of this, Zhao Feng also shot arrows at full speed, and the arrows in the quiver behind him also decreased rapidly. This is a rare opportunity to kill the enemy, Zhao Feng can't miss it. The arrow rain continued to shoot, accompanied by the continuous bombardment of the torch stone in the void, completely suppressed the Han army in the city. At this time, Li Ting on the central army chariot saw that the time was almost right. He immediately shouted, "My great Qin arrows have suppressed the Han army. Take advantage of this opportunity. Vanguard army. Attack!" With a shout, the entire army of the 10,000 general camp, which had been ready for action, was solemn. The sharp soldiers of the 20,000 general camp, we are the vanguard today. The might of the great Qin, swear to destroy the capital of Han. Kill! Wu Hua waved the spear in his hand and shouted loudly. Kill! Kill! The thousands of sharp soldiers of the vanguard camp roared. With the momentum of seeing death as home, the shield army was in front, carrying battering rams, chariots, ladders, and various siege equipment and rushed towards the capital of Han. Soon, they passed the archers in formation and rushed straight to the capital of Han. Under the suppression of the great Qin archers, the sharp soldiers of the vanguard camp quickly rushed to the front of the city 20 or 30 feet and entered the range of the Han army. Seeing this, Chao Yi, who was guarding the city, knew that he could not sit and wait for death. We must not let the Qin army break through the city. All troops, listen to my orders. Fight. Shoot arrows. Anyone who dares to flee from the battlefield will be killed immediately by the supervisory army. Shoot the catapults. Kill! Chao Yi shouted loudly. Under his might, the Han army on the city began to counterattack under the rain of arrows. From inside the city, the Han army's counterattack arrows were vented outside the city, and with the threat of the supervisory army, the Han army in the city also began to defend in an orderly manner. The rain of arrows gradually increased and became more dense. The catapults in the city also released huge stones and bombarded the Qin army outside the city. Defend! Wu Hua shouted immediately. The sharp soldiers at the front immediately raised their shields. Many arrows were blocked by shields, but many arrows directly shot through the gaps and hit the sharp soldiers in the back. Puff, puff, the arrows pierced the body. One by one, the sharp soldiers fell under the arrows and struggled in a pool of blood. The torch stones fell, causing considerable casualties. But these did not stop the vanguard from advancing, and they still steadily approached. The city siege warfare is inherently very cruel. When the war starts, human lives are worthless. This is the real siege. Fill with human lives. Until the city is breached. Zhao Feng observed while shooting arrows. Such a big battle, such a close distance, can show the cruelty here, but Zhao Feng also saw these vanguard warriors who attacked the city. They were not afraid, but had an indomitable momentum. When a warrior was shot to death by arrows, the next warrior immediately came to fill in. When many warriors were killed by boulders, the warriors behind came to fill in, march forward fearlessly. Is this the military spirit? Fearless. I will not return until I break the enemy city. I don't care about life or death. Seeing this scene, Zhao Feng had a feeling about the Qin army he was in, or maybe, he truly felt the invisible military spirit. under the cover of the Qin army's arrows, the Vanguard army has rushed to the city. Ladders and chariots quickly approached the city wall. At the same time, there were siege vehicles. Catapults continue to attack. Archers advance 30 feet and shoot arrows. Li Ting shouted loudly, now the Vanguard army has rushed to the city. If they continue to shoot arrows from a distance, they will hurt their side. At first, the archers also played a suppressive role, but now they need to advance. The order was issued. The Qin warriors advanced in an orderly manner. Pass on the order of the Prime Minister. Mobilize all the troops. For every 1 killed, 1 more will be sent. For every 10 killed, 10 more will be sent. We will never let the Qin army break through the city. Zhang Ping shouted loudly. The guards around him immediately issued an order. A large number of Han troops quickly rushed to the tower. A tug of war. The battle really started. The entire Han capital was completely shrouded in war. The Vanguard army attacked the city one after another, and the Han army also guarded closely, with arrows raining down like rain, and the rain of arrows outside the city was also continuous. Countless lives were lost with every breath. It was extremely tragic. Although the Han army suffered heavy casualties under the rain of arrows, they have the strength to defend the city, and they have a lot of troops. With such defense, it is impossible to break through like this. And the city gate seems to be blocked. Zhao Feng looked at the offensive and the comrades who died one after another, and a worry emerged in his heart, but he was not a vanguard and could only watch. P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please read, please, thank you very much. Chapter 48, There are social customs in the military too. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time lasts. More than 2 hours passed. The battle situation was completely tense, showing a kind of tug-of-war. Many elite soldiers of the Qin army fought on the city tower, but were resisted by the fierce defense of the Korean army, and were eventually killed by the Korean army in the city. The rain of arrows fired from both sides continued. Inside the city, outside the city, everything was dyed red with blood, and corpses lay everywhere, forming a blood-red pool outside the city, and there were countless corpses of sharp soldiers at the city gate. Dozens of warriors pushed the battering ram, and they hit it violently countless times, but the gates remained strong. Strong liquor. Fire oil. Kill. On the tower, watered with strong wine, kindled with fire, countless Qin Ruishi were burned directly into burning men. There seems to be no solution to this miserable situation. Rush. Destroy the city with all your strength. Kill with me. Wu Hua roared loudly and led his warriors to advance towards the city gate, but even with him as a general leading the army, the result could not be changed. The Korean army is heavily defended, the city gate has not yet been breached, and there is nothing he can do, this time. A round of random arrows struck. Wu Hua was directly pierced by random arrows and fell into a pool of blood, but the Qin army under the city was still attacking one after another. Before the general's order is given, those who retreat will be directly killed by the war supervising army. The Qin army formed a rear formation. It seems that the Vanguard army cannot break the city. Li Ting frowned. The siege was so well prepared, but it took nearly half a day before it was breached. Report. Report to General Li. The Pioneer Battalion suffered heavy casualties, and General Wu Hua died in battle. The morale of the Vanguard Battalion has collapsed. May I ask the General if you want to withdraw the Vanguard Battalion? As a messenger came to report, Li Ting's brows furrowed even more. It seems that I have underestimated Zhang Ping and the Korean army in the city. Li Ting said solemnly, then. War attack. It should be done in one go. Once you retreat. It will definitely affect the entire army, and it will also give the Korean army a chance to breathe. The morale of the Vanguard Battalion has been lost, so let's replace it with another Vanguard Battalion. Send the general's order. Order the Vanguard Battalion to retreat. Let Chen Tao lead the attack with 10,000 generals under his command. After Chen Tao, all the generals' camps will come up one after another. This general vows to defeat Handu in one battle. Li Ting shouted loudly. He has also served as a general in the army for many years, so he naturally understands the impact of military morale. If the troops are withdrawn directly this time, it will definitely have an impact on military morale. Subordinates take orders. The guards around him responded immediately. It didn't take long. Woo. The sound of the horn resounded throughout the void. This was the clarion call for the withdrawal of the Pioneer Battalion. Followed, the Vanguard Battalion under Han. The city began to retreat in an orderly manner. Korean soldiers. Victory. The Qin army retreated. We can definitely defend the capital and protect the country. Looking at the retreating Qin army, Han General Chao Yi shouted excitedly, looking like he was victorious. The Han soldiers on the tower also looked happy. General. Something's wrong. This Qin army retreated, another Qin army moved, and the Qin army's archers did not retreat. A Han general pointed to the front of the city and shouted. Chao Yi's expression changed. This time, Chen Tao clenched his sword and stood in front of the formation. Zhao Feng, where is Lu Wu? Chen Tao shouted loudly. My subordinate is here. Zhao Feng and another captain in General Tonwan's camp replied immediately. General Li has ordered that the vanguard troops withdraw and I, General Wan, attack with the battalion. Whoever can conquer the capital of Han will be the first to do so, and whoever can capture the king of Han will have an unparalleled achievement. The city is not broken, and our army is still favored by the vanguard. Put down your crossbows, raise your shields, and let me kill you. Anyone who dares to retreat will be killed without mercy. This general will personally supervise the battle. Zhao Feng, Lu Wu, which one of you dares to be the vanguard? Chen Tao shouted and looked at the two captains under his command. The military system is different, the methods of siege are also different. My subordinates are willing. Zhao Feng and Lu Wu replied at the same time. Zhao Feng, you have just entered the main battle camp, and your experience in leading troops needs to be improved. This battle. Lu Wu, you are the vanguard to attack. Zhao Feng, if Lu Wu's army fails, you will immediately take over the attack. After a glance, Chen Tao said something to suppress Zhao Feng, and finally settled on Lu Wu. Lu Wu said with ecstasy, I accept the order. Then he looked at Zhao Feng and said with a smile, Captain Zhao, I won't let you do this. As soon as the city gate is broken, you can follow immediately. It seemed that he was determined to win this battle. Zhao Feng just glanced at it calmly, and he could tell at a glance how proud Lu Wu was. Although the elite soldiers of the Qin army are a whole, they are also related. It seems that my promotion too quickly made some people jealous. Zhao Feng sneered in his heart. Zhao Feng had been in the main battle camp for less than half a month. Apart from being familiar with the military commanders under his command, he didn't know much about others. As for Lu Wu, he only had a few acquaintances with him. It can be seen from the fact that Li Ting decided to be the vanguard that he gave priority to his trusted generals, and then it was Chen Tao's turn. Chen Tao chose Lu Wu, and there is no doubt that he was on good terms with Lu Wu. The Qin military merit system is there, everyone wants to compete for merit, everyone wants to be promoted, but who is the vanguard depends on the relationship with the superior. Otherwise, there have not been so many merit competitions since ancient times. From ancient times to the present, what matters is human relationships. This is the first time that Zhao Feng has seen the human relationships in the army. However, he doesn't care. Brothers. Did you hear that? The general said. Until the city is broken, you will still be the vanguard. Follow me to kill, break through the Han capital, and the first merit will go to my captain camp. Lu Wu shouted, with a confidence that he could break the Han capital, leading his 5,000 sharp soldiers to fight first. Too proud. Looking at Lu Wu's performance, Zhao Feng smiled faintly in his heart. The city gates were sealed, and the city was guarded by the Han army. Zhao Feng wanted to see how Lu Wu would break the city. Lu Duwei's men will be the vanguard, and I will be the substitute for Duwei's camp. You all be careful. The Han army is raining arrows continuously, try to disperse. Zhao Feng turned his head and gave instructions to Xuanhuan and other military marquises, especially looking at Wei Quan. Yes. Xuanhuan, Wei Quan and the other 5 military marquises replied immediately. When Lu Wu led his army to rush out, he also opened up a distance with Zhao Feng's army. Kill. Zhao Feng didn't waste words. With caution in his eyes, He also raised his sword and killed. The sharp soldiers behind him followed under the command of the military marquises. It's just that the speed was not so fast, the city gate was not broken. If you rush too fast, you will face the enemy's arrow rain, and you will be a lamb to be slaughtered. Your eyes turned, looking at the retreating Qin army. A new one swept in. Chao Yi immediately shouted, "Once the city is broken, the Qin army will never let us go." Archers aim at the Qin army under the city. Catapults aim at the Qin army archers, kill. Facing life and death, the Han army also defended with all their strength. Lu Wu held a shield and led the Wanjiang camp to advance. Facing the rain of arrows, sharp soldiers were shot and killed from time to time, but soon, Lu Wu led his men to the city. New forces joined, the chariots and ladders approached again. Lu Wu led 5,000 sharp soldiers to attack continuously, rush to the tower, climb the ladders and approach the chariot, but despite their fierce offensive, they still couldn't take the tower, and the casualties were increasing. P.S. Please recommend. Please vote, please vote, please vote, thank you very much. Chapter 49 Zhao Feng attacked and broke the city, shocking the whole army. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Zhao Feng thought, if the city gates are not breached and Great Qin's warriors are unable to attack the city, then this battle will be a tense one. The city gates seemed to have been sealed by the Korean army in the city. It could not be opened with the city hammer. Even though there were cracks on the city gate at this moment, it was still very stable. The city tower was heavily defended by the Korean army. There are more than 80,000 Korean troops. No matter how terrible the Qin army's arrow rain is, it is impossible to kill them all. Why haven't you broken open the city gate yet? Lu Wu stood in front of the city, blocking random arrows with his shield, and shouted at the warriors who were attacking the city gate. Captain. The city gate was poured with molten iron, and there seems to be support inside. We have attacked it hundreds of times without breaking through. 100 generals shouted in horror. Damn it. Lu Wu glanced at the city gate that had not yet been breached, then he looked at Zhao Feng, who was gradually approaching from behind, and the captain's camp under Zhao Feng. The opportunity of pioneer was given to me by General Qin. I must not let General Qin down. Lu Wu gritted his teeth and looked up at the Handong city wall. Subsequently, he raised his sword and shouted loudly, "Brothers, Vanguard camp, we will never retreat until we break the city. Since the city gate cannot be breached, then follow the captain to attack the city tower." Then Lu Wu shouted loudly. He boarded the carriage directly, and together with the warriors who rushed to the tower, fought against the Korean army at close range. A bloody battle. There was constant rain of arrows on the city tower, and Lu Wu led the Duwei camp to suffer heavy casualties. If the city gate cannot be breached, the entire army will be annihilated sooner or later. Looking at the city gate getting closer. Where are the warriors of the 1st Captain's Battalion? Zhao Feng shouted and raised the Longquan sword in his hand. Wind, wind, wind. 5,000 warriors behind Zhao Feng shouted loudly. Their morale was strong. All warriors obey orders. If this captain dies in battle, Xuanhuan will take over the captain's camp. If Xuanhuan dies in battle, Wei Quan will take over the captain's camp. We will never withdraw our troops until Handong is defeated. Follow this captain to attack and kill from the city gate. Zhao Feng shouted loudly, kill towards the city gate. I will obey the general's orders. All the military commanders and warriors shouted in unison. Compared to the morale of the 2nd Captain's Battalion led by Lu Wu at this moment, which was at a loss, the morale of the Captain's Battalion led by Zhao Feng was as high as a rainbow, far exceeding that of other armies. The rear military formation. Li Teng stood on the chariot and watched. This general orders me to attack all the generals' camps except for the personal guards in the rear. Destroy the capital of Han in one battle. Li Teng shouted in a deep voice, Handong must be destroyed. This is related to the emergence of Great Qin from the east, and even more to the unification of Great Qin. No one can stop it, no matter how many casualties it takes, it's worth it. The general has an order. Except for the personal guards, all the general's battalions will go into battle. The general has an order. Convey the order. All the elite warriors in the rear formation came out to kill Han Du in Handong city. One man dies in battle and another man is killed. The Qin army must not be allowed to take advantage of it. Qiao Yi shouted loudly. The Qin army that stormed the tower attacked fiercely, but the Korean army also defended very tightly, but at this moment, holding a shield, Zhao Feng dodged the heavy rain of arrows and approached the city gate where corpses were littered. Zhao Feng. The city gate has been sealed by the Korean army and it is impossible to break it. Only by attacking the tower with me can we break the city. In the car, Lu Wu looked at Zhao Feng who was about to continue rushing to the city gate, and immediately shouted loudly. Zhao Feng ignored it. Captain. I'll use the battering ram to break open the city gate. Xuanhuan said loudly. The battering ram cannot break it. You follow me closely. Zhao Feng shouted. Under the eyes of Xuanhuan and other military princes and warriors, Zhao Feng rushed out quickly, the Longquan sword in his hand already raised. At the same time, Zhao Feng's strength of more than 1,000 kilograms has been mobilized. Longquan's sword body was trembling. Whether you can break the city depends on you, Longquan. Zhao Feng shouted in his heart, cut it out with one sword. Cut towards the city gate, click. Only the sound of metal cutting was heard, and sparks flew everywhere. Go down with one sword. A huge sword mark was cut through the city gate, and the thick city gate was cut directly open. Through the gap between the sword marks, it can be seen that many Korean soldiers in the city are facing astonishment, and they seem to be a little shocked that the city gate suddenly broke through such a crack. But they didn't wait until they recovered from the shock. Longquan waved in his hand again, cut. Out again. Sparks flew from the city gate. When Zhao Feng stopped slashing, it seemed like it was just one sword, but in fact he slashed more than a dozen swords. Zhao Feng's slashing speed was very fast. The city gate is already covered with cracks. The city gate is about to be broken down. Quick, report to the general quickly. The Korean troops in the city were even more shocked, but the next moment, they were not even given a chance to recover. Zhao Feng took a step forward, holding the shield in his left hand. He jumped up and pointed it towards the city gate. Break it. Boom. Under the horrified eyes of the Korean army in the city gate, which had withstood countless hits from the warriors of the great Qin dynasty, suddenly shattered and scattered into pieces of iron. How is this possible? Looking at the broken city gate and Zhao Feng with a sinister aura in front of him, all the Korean troops in the city were shocked and couldn't even imagine it. Is he still human? The city gate was actually knocked open by him. On the chariot, Lu Wu also widened his eyes and looked at the situation below in great astonishment. At this moment, he looked at Zhao Feng as if he had seen a ghost. Not only them, Zhang Han, Wei Quan and other military officers behind Zhao Feng were also like this, full of astonishment, shocked. Captain, is he still a human being? Everyone was shocked. At this moment, both the enemy and us inside and outside the city were shocked. The enemy in the city did not expect Zhao Feng to break the city gate, and he directly knocked it open after swinging his sword. The sharp soldiers outside the city did not expect their captain to be so terrible and possessed something that could not be done by human power. 1st Captain Battalion Sharp Soldiers, listen to my order. Follow this captain to kill. Zhao Feng shouted loudly and rushed directly towards the astonished Han army. It was this shout that made the sharp soldiers of the captain battalion behind him come back to their senses. Captain's divine might. Follow the captain and kill. Captain's divine might. Kill. Kill all the enemy troops. Kill. Zhang Han, Wei Quan, and the elite soldiers of the captain's camp roared excitedly, following Zhao Feng's figure and rushing towards the city. Zhao Feng took the lead, blocked with a shield, waved the dragon spring in his hand, blood splashed. The heads of several Korean soldiers in front of him were instantly separated. With the magic weapon in hand and Zhao Feng's terrifying strength, they were even more powerful. Kill the Korean soldiers and pick up 5 points of strength. Kill the Korean soldiers and pick up 5 points of speed. Kill the Korean soldiers. Prompts appeared on the panel. Zhao Feng glanced. There were almost endless Korean soldiers in front. It seemed that there was endless crisis, but in fact it was Zhao Feng's great opportunity, which was the source of his increasing attributes. P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please read, thank you very much. Chapter 50. All attributes exceeded 900 points. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kill. Zhao Feng sneered, holding the shield in his left hand and the sword in his right hand, and rushed out again. The enemy's weapons are coming. Zhao Feng's divine consciousness had already dispersed. It did not disperse completely, but surrounded him for 3 feet. The enemy's attack had no chance to touch him under the detection of his divine consciousness. Zhao Feng held a shield to block the enemy's attack. Weapon, long quan in the right hand swung it, crazy harvesting the vitality of the Korean soldiers in front of them. The panel prompts constantly, taking advantage of this great opportunity. Zhao Feng frantically killed enemies and picked up attributes, and Zhao Feng's bravery was all reflected in the eyes of the warriors behind him, watching Zhao Feng kill a dozen Korean soldiers in front of him in just a few breaths, and then opened a gap in the city gate. Every warrior behind him showed reverence. Captain Kamui. Kill. Kill all the enemies. Xuanhuan, Wei Quan, and many other warriors roared and followed Zhao Feng into the city, waving their weapons to attack the Korean army. Like a sharp blade, it stabs hard into the enemy's heart. A moment. The two armies collided completely. Zhao Feng's warriors were fierce, and the Korean army at the city gate was killed with corpses scattered everywhere. The breach of the Handong city gate also represented the disintegration of the Korean army's defense line, in the city. See this scene. Chao Yi's expression changed. This is impossible. The city gate was poured with molten iron dozens of times, and more than a dozen beams were added. Even the Qin army's city hammer could not break through it. How could it be broken by a single manpower, that at this time? The Korean generals looked at Chao Yi. General, the Qin army has entered the city. What should we do? Mobilize all troops to defend to the death. Drive the Qin army out of the city. Anyone who dares to escape from battle will be killed. Quick! Chao Yi yelled in panic. Following his general order, a large number of Korean troops came from all over the city to fight the Qin army who broke into the city, preparing to defend and drive the Qin army out. Only, after the city gate was breached by Zhao Feng, the gap for the Korean army was completed, and it was useless for them to stop them. Kill! Kill! Zhao Feng roared, and wherever he passed, there was a pool of Korean soldiers lying in a pool of blood. Anyone who is around him is already destined to die. With its powerful strength and the blessing of divine weapons, it is like a killing god. It is precisely because of the existence of a killing god like Zhao Feng that the morale of the 5,000 warriors under his command is particularly high and their combat power is endless. They followed Zhao Feng and charged wildly, killing the enemy crazily. The Korean army in front of them was defeated by them. As they entered the city, as the Korean army retreated, more and more Qin army warriors entered the city. Zhao Feng. Really a tough guy. He actually cut through the city gate directly. Chen Tao's eyes flashed with brilliance and he was extremely shocked. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it, but at this moment, he didn't have time to think too much and immediately followed the army into the city. Outside the city, the Qin army formed a rear formation. Although they are far apart, they can see that the Qin army's elite soldiers have already entered the city. Li Ting's face showed a hint of excitement, and he hurriedly shouted, "Has the city gate been breached?" General Qi. The city gate has been breached. It is the Wanjiang camp belonging to General Chen Tao. A guard quickly rode over and reported, "Hear the news." Seeing the warriors filing into Handong city, Li Ting looked excited and said with a big smile, "Kai." Subsequently, Chen Tao came back to his senses and shouted loudly, "Pass this general's order." The archers stop firing arrows, and the entire army enters the city. The Korean army can avoid death by laying down their weapons and surrendering. If you don't surrender, you will be killed without mercy. This sound, Li Ting swept away the depression of being unable to break the city before and became filled with excitement. Handu was broken, Han will die. For the Qin, this was an extraordinary feat. As the general who destroyed Korea, he will eventually gain this great military merit. Time passes. In Handu, the killings continued. The cry of killing enveloped the vast capital of Han. Countless civilians hid in their homes and closed their doors, trembling, fearing that the killing would spread to their own homes. In troubled times and wars, civilians are very helpless and can only hope not to be affected. The inner city of Handu. Report to the Prime Minister. 8 of the 10 lines of defense in the outer city have been breached by the Qin army. The soldiers have suffered heavy casualties and will soon be unable to defend themselves. A Han general came to Zhang Ping in a panic and reported in panic. Zhang Ping raised his head and looked at the darkened sky. There is also the bright moon hanging high in the void, which makes the night that should be dark actually have a halo that can barely be seen clearly. Maybe even God is helping Qin Jun. There was a hint of despair on his face, as well as the bitterness of the country's demise. Oh my God! Do you really want to destroy Korea? Prime Minister. The last general suggested that the Prime Minister should retreat to the palace first. If not, the war will soon reach the inner city. The general on the side said. Shut up. Zhang Ping scolded angrily, with a look of fearlessness on his face. I will be the Prime Minister of Korea when I am born, and I will be the Prime Minister when I die. The order from the Prime Minister ordered Chao Yi to defend the outer city. If he dares to escape, the Prime Minister will kill him with his own hands. If he dies in battle, then he will be our hero in Korea. As for the inner city, the Prime Minister will not escape. Will serve the country with one's own body and guard this place. Zhang Ping shouted to the generals around him. Follow the Prime Minister's order. The generals replied immediately. Under the night, the falling moonlight was mixed with endless murderous intent. Death enveloped the entire outer city of Han. The Qin army rushed from all over the official road of Han. Most of the outer city had been conquered by the Qin army. There were corpses everywhere in the outer city, and blood dyed the earth red. Under the night, the moonlight sprinkled, giving the Qin warriors a chance to distinguish between enemies and friends. If it was completely dark, there would be no chance. In a place in the outer city, Zhao Feng raised his hand and swung a sword. A flash of blood appeared, and 2 heads were cut off by Longquan. Kill a Han soldier and pick up 5 points of physical fitness. Kill 1 Han Wanjiang and pick up 5 points of all attributes. Congratulations to the host for breaking through all attributes to 900 points, and reward a first-level treasure chest. The panel prompted, followed, a sense of comfort from the improvement of all attributes swept away Zhao Feng's fatigue. Haha. After killing so many enemies, I finally got enough attributes. Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. The attributes obtained by killing enemies are all random. Zhao Feng did kill countless enemies in this battle, but most of them were strength attributes, so after killing enemies for so long, he only improved all attributes by 200. But the strength and speed attributes were far beyond other attributes. Zhao Feng was really satisfied with such an improvement. Brothers, keep killing. Zhao Feng raised Longquan and shouted loudly. Follow the captain. Kill. Many of Zhao Feng's subordinates responded enthusiastically. At this moment, they looked at Zhao Feng as if they were looking at the god of war. One person broke through the city gate that Daqin attacked repeatedly but could not break, and he was even more brave and invincible after entering the city. P.S. Please recommend, please vote, please monthly ticket, please read, thank you very much.